What's going on, y'all? It's J Smo Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. And people have requested that after events to get those recaps out the night of if I can. I know that's like the initial when people want to hear about it, so I am bringing you my Bullpen Endgame recap, right here after my pretty much very fresh thoughts coming right off the event. And obviously, it's rare on this channel that I blog once about drama, let alone multiple times, go to other channels, right? But Cassie's situation was big, so I've already been blogging kind of all day on the lead up to this event and how disgusted I was with the whole way that situation went down. But we ended up having a night with 5 battles still, and I'd say there's going to be some low points that we have to talk about, and particularly one, it's low, you know what I mean? But if I had to look at it overall out of the 5, I'd say 3 of the battles were pretty good. I'd say there's a range in that because I think Bad News and Rex, which ended up being the main event by default, right? It has a highlight showcase, and I think Bad News is pretty good. You could debate it's the rare, performance of the night and battle of the night, maybe debate. A couple other battles I liked as well, obviously. So, without further ado, we're going to start from the bottom of the card. So, first battle was Danny Myers versus Reggie P, and it took a minute to start the event. I would expect a delay with the news that we had got, though. I'd say Danny and Reggie P is just a cool opener. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it was bad, stand out bad, and especially if you're the opener for an event like this, the crowd definitely wasn't filled out by that point. They never really, packed out the venue at any point in the night, but I thought early on, it's almost like you could hear the emptiness a little bit. And, while that could have played in this battle, I thought the quality was okay enough. You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't that big of a deal. So, Danny won the first round clear, and it was really, the first round is what I thought the battle should look like throughout. I thought Danny was just better in pretty much most regards, and that comes with the big stage experience, just more experience in general. Punches were just landing cleaner, rapping better with the proper energy, keeping that pace of the round that you need on the big stage, kind of quick when it needs to be, but slow when it needs to be well. You're walking through, a lot more people as opposed to your pit battles, right? So just better than Reggie in the first. In the second, Danny won because Danny had a very good second, too. He started out with 2 great rounds in this battle. But Reggie fought back. He had a couple bars I liked. Had this whole lead-up setup that I thought was taking a while to about Danny not raising his kids, this and that, right? The usual Danny tropes. And he said, you better act like you 44 or get shot by one. Actually led up to a crazy punch. I like that. He also had one, I'll put God everywhere. He omnipresent. So I thought Reggie P had some clever stuff, man. He fought in the second, still had Danny, though, so I had him up 2-0. And then the third, that's where Danny lets his foot off the gas, kind of stumbles, cuts his round early, and Reggie doesn't really have a great third, but he was just clean, you know what I mean? So ends up getting the third, fought close enough in the second. It's one of those where Danny still won, but Reggie put up a respectable effort, you know what I'm saying? So overall, it was a cool opener. Then from there, they got into the ladies matchup with Jazz and Shyrack, and I'm not gonna lie, the first round of this battle from both is great. I was actually I don't know if I'd say surprised, because I'd still expect, I expected Shyrack to show fight, but just not the level that she did at first. I thought Jazz's first round is good. It's mainly bar for bar, and really the first 2 rounds of the battle from her, mainly bar for bar and creative stuff. She doesn't really get into the angling and the tailoredness into the third, but her first, let's say, was 7, 8 out of 10, right? A formidable Jazz round. Hey, dog, Shyrack fought right back. Her rebuttals in both of these first 2 rounds were hitting. She got a bar off early and got a haymaker, which she needed to kind of carry that momentum from Jazz's first to hers, because she was going second, and she bombed in the first. I was in the streets, you were working with police, so we both know what it's like to cop work. I thought the cop work bar was crazy. She had a couple other, haymakers in the first. She not only matched Jazz, but she really snatched it with a couple extra bars. So I had Shyrack up 1-0 after the first, close though, and then so you have the great big stage experience, you're up there, you're controlling the crowd. Shyrack, second round, Jazz goes stupid again, better than her first round, and she had a remix of I let a round wrap around, the way she did it though was perfect. It was funny, but it led into a bar in itself. I just thought that was great. The Shy flips, whether it was D-Rose or Chicago, it was a Chicago Shy D-Rose flip that was crazy earlier in her second, but she went heavy on the Shy, talking about right when you got the battle with me, you had your worst performance versus Jerry West. Her name's Shy. Of course she doesn't know how to handle all of the attention. I thought it was great, man. And then Shyrack doesn't get the crowd on her side. And this is an example of, there were people talking through her round, clearly, but this is the crowd control aspect, because if you've ever been to a big stage event, there's always people talking through stuff. You know what I'm saying? It can like range in terms of the variety. Obviously, it got worse as it went because it was clearly affecting Shyrack. She wasn't handling it well. But as a professional, you got to rap through and it'll make them get focused. Because if you stop the way Shyrack did, you can get pulled in that cringy, like stopping for the crowd, getting mad, messing up your own pace. So I just thought she did everything right in the first round. She kind of did everything wrong in the second round. Like, stopped the round. Jazz said, you should really keep rapping. She went and started rapping again, right? So, clear second for Jazz. In the third, Jazz tailored, gets in the angles about Shyrack and Dot. Kind of a little bit of career breakdown. Just really getting after, at this point, showing the full skill set. The pockets, the angling, the poise, the performance and delivery on stage while still being bar for bar. And I thought Shyrack in the third kind of reverted to just regular bar for bar self, but it wasn't the blitz that she was in the first round, which is what you need for this matchup. So I thought, even though Shyrack's third is definitely better than her second and pretty good, still didn't look all the way comfortable. I had Jazz clearly taking the second and the third round of this battle, so I personally had her 2-1. Some might debate the first was like debatable, the edge of the Jazz. I feel really comfortable giving that to Shyrack. I think that was really one of the best rounds of her career so far. Extremely impressive, but it was just an example of like, she did some things great as we expect with Shyrack. She's shown some ability, but across 3 rounds, she had those big stage growing pains, and even you can hear on the hot mic as the battle ended, Jazz, like, at them embracing, showing respect. She's like, you just got to rap through it, and that's stuff that you learn. If Shyrack's going to be here for a minute, hopefully she is a new lady star, because this was a respectable performance versus Jazz. Even though it's an L, you can learn things from this, and hopefully, use that in future big stage experiences. And I had kind of like foreshadowed, right, reference that there was going to be a low point in this event, right? And it's just a straight low point quality-wise. Nothing to do with drama or production, although there was like an hour-long intermission before this battle, so that was a bit annoying, right? But then Loso and Sirius Jones took the stage. Now, first of all, before we even get to the battle, it's not often that we joke on the outfits and stuff. I know I did it for prom night. We had some jokes, right? But every once in a while, you see something that's just like, is this real life? Yo, this man Jones pulled up in this alphabetical hoodie, long hoodie. The man was dressed like dyslexia. I could not believe. Like, I had to like clean my glasses and be like, is that letters on there in various colors? Like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? I couldn't believe, right? And that was just a quick symbolism of how bizarre this battle was going to get, because the battle started out on Jones, and you could tell almost instantly, very early on, this performance was going to lean more in the Sirius Jones versus Geechee Gotti direction, more so than it was going to lean into the Sirius Jones versus John Didon direction. And that's something you got to worry about with a big stage with Sirius. Listen, in the pit, even though, one could argue that it's a mixed bag of results there, it's more comfortable for Jones. It's just on a big stage at this point in his career. I know he did it way back, on SM2, and even then he had some moments where he got booed and stuff, right? But there's just no highs. There's really no redeemable qualities. I mean, his first was super, break down the Christian base, the hypocrisy within a Christian battle rapper, a lot of biblical references, but like a Mary Magdalene, super outdated concept that he used to get to the bar. He didn't use it creatively. His pace and delivery, which is really just the worst, because then he drops the bar that he thinks is hot. He's looking for a reaction, and he's kind of telling the crowd, why are you asleep? It's awkward. It's cringy. It's bizarre. Like, it's just bad. Like, if you want an example of, like, not choking, none of that, just, like, bad material and execution, this was just a mess by Jones. And Loso went in the first, and, listen, his material is cool in this battle. Kind of reminds me of, like, his Jack Boy battle, maybe, where he was a little more stumbly in that. Great, in the first round of this battle, he's also stumbling. So that's not helping the momentum. I mean, the first on either, not that either of them were very good in this battle, but the first on either side was really rough. I still had Loso 1-0, landed a couple more lines, thought he finished his first pretty okay, but it was just hard to not win outside of just like choking in front of that Jones first. But you know what's worse than a Jones first? Jones is second. Not good once again. I can't, like, I almost don't want to OD, but it's just the schemes. Like, that's already when it was bad enough. Then he gets in his scheming bag. And I don't remember if it was the second or the third, but he had a bar like something about, you always feeling like the wild horse. That Mustang. Mustang for like Mustang? Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? Jones was rapping bad, executed bad. It was just the type of performance that, like, you can actually feel it taking the energy out of the event, taking the energy out of the building. It was kind of almost like it was anti-battle rap raps. It was a full-on attack on hip-hop. There's no question about it. Just a really bizarre big stage performance from Jones, and it just has so many similarities to the Geechee performance that I know, even if Jones has his lowlights, that he is not that bad for 3 rounds. Not on like a lyrical level, although he had plenty of flaws lyrically in this battle as well. But there's just something at this point is like, if you're putting him on a big stage, you got to know you're rolling him out for failure. You know what I'm saying? I still think that there's times that Jones, we just saw how good he was versus John. I'm explaining in pits, right? Like, he still has his strengths, but this was just Jones in his worst situation possible. Loso won this battle 3-0. There's just not much more to say about that. It was truly like, I did not know where the event was going to go from there, right? But luckily, you did have 2 of the best battles left on the card to close, and one of them was Roc and Clone. Long-ass battle, as expected, because, of course, Roc continues to rap extremely long rounds. I think Clone tried to match him in some aspects, some of his rounds being damn near like 6 minutes, but I will say the quality, see, it's tough because it hurts the replay value when Roc does this. I do not like it. Even at some point when the round's great, I'm like, dog, it's been 7 to 8 minutes. Like, this is the max. Can we stop? 12-minute first round. It slowly went down in round time as it went, but I gotta be honest too. Round time's another performance like the Reed one where the round time didn't matter because Roc was cooking like that. He would have won with a 5-minute round. He would have really won with like a 3:30 round in some of these. Maybe not the third because I thought Clone's third was great, but that's really just how the first 2 rounds of this battle went. I thought Clone was solid. Like, really did nothing wrong within the first 2. Particularly his second, I thought was a little bit off. I meant to say particularly his first, I liked. His second, I thought had more dry spots, like kind of getting into his signature flow, and that in comparison to Roc, who's doing these insane patterns that he's holding, these multisyllabics. I mean, I couldn't even go over all of them right now. I tried, but of course he had plenty of clone flips, but I mean just the rapping, like the structuring to make all the words flow together as smooth as they did. So impressive in the first 2. I thought he was barring out. He was more explosive, and he had the rapping ability. It just showed a difference in big stage battle rap. I thought Roc was up clearly 2-0 after the first 2. In the third, similar to Jazz and Shyrack, some will debate Roc even edged that third, but I thought Clone really snatched it. He had a very good third round. I thought he found a little bit more consistency, kind of switched the flows up too, and just, you know, the Bulls, even though, you know, we talk about Jazz winning clear, we talk about Roc winning clear here. Shyrack did her numbers and fought, and I thought same for Clone, but in a different round, the third instead of the first. He got the round to make it respectable, and with a very daunting task with the battle rapper in front of him, I still thought he did his numbers and had a good battle. I just thought that this was another clear W for Tay Roc. And then that leaves you with, you know, this replacement main event in a sense that you get with TRex and Bad News. And I gotta say, this was my battle of the night pick going in, and this is a rare one. Like I said in the beginning, I believe that Rex, to me, even though it wasn't as complete as maybe some other people's 3 rounds of the night, thought he took his foot off the gas a little in the third, but I had Rex with performance in the night and a clear W. However, I still think it was battle of the night. I think maybe in a sense it wasn't as competitive as, I mean, there's a lot of clear battles on the card, but I even like Bad News in this battle. You know what I'm saying? I thought he had his flaws in the first 2 rounds, but I like Bad News, but I just thought Rex was that good. News started out in the first, and I think in comparison, this is probably like his weakest round. Thought he tried to go more bar for bar. He took a couple personal approaches at Rex 2 in the first, but I did not think he was landing with explosiveness. I thought this is more of like kind of the not-so-good side of Bad News, a little bit of the more simplistic wordplay, which this is not a battle of writers by any means, but there's one guy delivering it much different than the other. You're really seeing kind of the flaws in Bad News' writing, and some of the bars, they're just, you know, okay. You know, he's kind of the challenger in this situation, right? It's his Endgame plate, so you're expecting him to be the best version of himself. I didn't think in his first he was as good as his first for JC, even his first for Fonz, right? Any of the first for Arsenal, any of those recent performances. And Rex was setting the building on fire. The 50-11, the Reebok deals bar, I thought that was crazy. He was obviously talking the drug talk with him too, talking a little bit of life talk as well. I remember he said, I think it was either in his second or his third round, you gonna keep touching the stove, like he gonna keep touching the stove like he don't know it's hot. And somebody in the crowd was like, he don't. Like, it's just regular life shit like that. mixed in with the drug talk, mixed in with, I thought, a little bit more wordplay. Like, I think there's been an improvement. I'm not saying that Rex is all of a sudden this great puncher or a pen in a sense, right? But I think he's doing much better wordplay wise than he was doing, let's say, 3-4 years ago, really any period in that time where it didn't feel like Rex's full effort was there. I thought he had some shit in the first 2 rounds. I thought he was also, because I see some people saying Rex was gassed, this and that. What you're not understanding, too, is the man is just a natural entertainer. I know that when we watch it, I guess on cam, we could be more critical of the bar for bar, but even watching it on cam, how do you not watch that and not, like, feel the electricity a little bit from a guy who's clearly performing at a higher rate and sharper on this big stage, from a guy who's out rapping Bad News? I'm talking about the effort that he's putting in the rapping. Like, the words matter and the content matters, which he was good into in this battle, so I think critiquing it, out of all battles for Rex to critique it, this would be a funny one. But not only is he barring up, it's the way he's rapping, man. I mean, for me, there's an element of battle rap and really hip-hop in general about making people feel something. And that's how it is when Rex raps. Like, you feel something. And those that understand what I'm saying. So I thought these first 2 rounds, even though Bad News was better in the second round too, he had the Diddy angle he started with. I thought it was a good concept, but then he went in a weirder direction with it, so I didn't love the execution. But I thought Rex was just styling. Like, the first 2 rounds felt like his Chilla stuff, even a little bit more sound on the content than his Chilla stuff. So that's another thing, because I thought Chilla at the time, thought a couple of his bars got gassed against Chilla. I felt like I liked almost everything he was putting up in this one. So 2-0 Rex, but in the third, even though his third was good too, I thought Bad News really turned up in the third. And he had a couple moments all battle, but the one bar, and it might have been bar of the battle, it was so good. You want my life, and I want yours, so we both jealous. Like, I want to take your life, but you want my life. That was crazy Bad News. And he had a few of those in the third that I liked. It was a battle of real talk, and that's definitely what got emphasized. I said in this matchup, since they're both good at the same things, that strength is going to be emphasized on both sides, and you end up with a really good, I felt like, I don't want to say really good, because it took a minute for Bad News to get there, right, to his third round. That I thought his third was really good. It's a good Bad News performance, and I think he showed clearly adapting a little bit more in the big stage. His improvements on content as well over the last few years, but Rex really stole the show once again, and thank God for our consistent legends that stay out here, the ones that we should, obviously, and we do, it's not going to act like we don't, but that we should give respect. Jazz, Tay Roc, and Rex on a card where Cassidy fucks over the card, you know what I'm saying? It just looks like this whole situation is going to be rough going in. You end up with a pretty deep, like, just on the battle-wise side, a pretty decent night given a bad situation, because you got Jazz showing up and doing her thing. You got Tay Roc showing up and doing his thing, and you got Rex performing like prime Rex in 2024. You know what I'm saying? It's been so long since Rex rapped this good, but it's like his 4th 3-rounder in a row where he's good, if not great. So you got to be happy about that. And even for the Bulls that competed on here, I thought Clone did a pretty good job fighting. Obviously, I think News even did a good job fighting. Shyrack, Reggie, like, even though they were clear battles, it didn't feel like straight up deaths, and it felt like people were still fighting for their respect as well, as they should, as their endgame battles. So if I got to look at just the quality of the battles, you might, disappointing with everything else surrounding the card, but I think you're looking at least maybe like a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 type of quality at the least. And I felt like it was a pretty decent night of battles for Bullpen, all things considered. But that is my full thoughts on Bullpen Endgame. Like I said, overall, decent event. I think, considering how we started, I don't know if we even saw that happening with the way the day began. But in terms of some of the performers tonight, like I said, you look at Rex, Jazz, and Roc, particularly Rex for me. I just thought those first 2 rounds, he was doing magic on stage. And I got to say, while Roc, and I'd say Jazz had a more complete 3 rounds, and while Roc was good, Rex was doing it within the time limits. He was efficient with it, and there's something I like more. I can rewatch that performance a little bit more, and I would say it was a little bit more explosive. You know what I'm saying? Maybe just seeing Rex rap good is a bit more of a wholesome kind of moment for a fan, but really for me, stole the show. Roc and Jazz, Bulls still held it down, and now, I want to ask your guys' opinions on the event. I know there's all this drama, right? And listen, give your opinion on that below too if you'd like. But for the battles, do you think they still turned out pretty well? How do you feel about some of these key performances for Roc and Rex? I'm sure Roc, I don't want to have the Roc Cody talk after every battle, but if you got any Roc, Cody thoughts, what this battle does for his race, please let me know in the comments down below, man. But it's been J Smo Reviews again here, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.